The night Jamal Roberts changed American Idol. The night Jamal Roberts was crowned the winner of American Idol wasn't just a big moment on TV, it meant something deeper. Sure, there was confetti falling from the ceiling, lights flashing across the stage, and the crowd cheering wildly. But beneath all that noise and excitement, a much bigger story was quietly unfolding. Jamal stood there smiling, his hands shaking, not knowing that his victory would spark a conversation far beyond his music. It wasn't about his incredible voice. It wasn't even about his journey to the stage. It was about something many people hadn't noticed at first, but once they did, they couldn't stop talking about it. The real buzz? Who cheered for him and who didn't? Jamal didn't look like the typical Idol winner. At 27, he used to teach gym and had no connections in the music business. He didn't have a dramatic backstory or famous mentors. What he had was heart and a voice that was rough around the edges but full of soul. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. Every time he sang, people felt it. His voice carried emotion, pain, joy, and truth all at once. He wasn't just performing, he was pouring himself out on that stage. America connected with that. Viewers voted for him week after week, falling in love with his raw talent. But there was one person who didn't seem moved at all, Carrie Underwood. From the very start, fans noticed something off about Carrie's reactions to Jamal. While the other judges Katy Perry and Lionel Richie were clearly impressed by him, lighting up during his performances, Carrie seemed distant. Her compliments were short, her claps slower, and her smiles didn't reach her eyes. She didn't criticize him harshly, but she never seemed excited either. Just neutral. At first, people made excuses. Maybe she was tired. Maybe she wasn't into his style of music. But as the weeks went on, the pattern stayed the same. Jamal kept getting better, delivering performances that gave people chills. Meanwhile, Carrie's energy remained flat. Social media caught on fast. Tweets joked about how uninterested she looked every time he sang. One person even wrote, "She looked more excited during the mic check." At first, it was funny. But after a while, it started to feel personal. Even as Jamal wowed audiences with soulful covers of legends like Marvin Gaye and Donny Hathaway, and even turned a pop song into something powerful, Carrie never changed. Fans kept asking, "What's going on here?" Things came to a head during the BET 45th anniversary dinner. Jamal showed up in a sleek black suit, calm and confident. The press surrounded him, and someone finally asked the question out loud, "There's been talk that Carrie wasn't as supportive of you. Any thoughts?" Jamal didn't lash out. He didn't avoid the question either. He just smiled and said, "Carrie's a country singer. She likes country music. I don't think she connects with every genre, and that's okay. She had her favorites, and that's her choice." That's all he said. Simple. Calm. But it made a big impact. The interview spread like wildfire. People didn't just hear what he said, they felt what he didn't say. He didn't need to call anyone out. The truth was clear enough on its own. And that's why his win meant more than just a trophy. Jamal didn't only win because of his voice, he won by rising above everything that tried to box him in. In a season dominated by country artists, he was different. He didn't fit the mold, and he didn't try to. And still, he came out on top. When Carrie finally posted about his win on Instagram, it felt off. She shared a smiling photo of Jamal holding his trophy, with a caption saying how proud she was of him and how excited she was for his future. But to the fans who had been watching all season, it didn't ring true. This was the same judge who barely cracked a smile during Jamal's performances. The same person who gave glowing praise to others even when they made mistakes but stayed lukewarm with him. Her post felt like it came too late. Too polished. Too forced. The comments section blew up. One follower asked, "Where was this support during the show?" Another simply wrote, "Too little, too late." No one was yelling or angry, it was more like they were pointing out the obvious. They had receipts. Clips began to circulate online showing Carrie's cold reactions next to her warm praise for others. The difference was striking. Despite all this, Jamal didn't respond. No reposts. No comments. No subtle jabs. Just silence. That quiet confidence said everything. He had already won. He didn't need to prove anything. What really hit people was how different her energy was toward him compared to others. During one episode, she told Jamal, "You're getting better," with all the enthusiasm of someone commenting on a child tying their shoes. But when another contestant fumbled through a country song, Carrie called her the future of country music, eyes sparkling. Fans called it out, some labeled it genre loyalty, others favoritism. Whatever it was clear Jamal had never felt truly embraced. And yet, he kept showing up. Week after week, performance after performance, he gave everything he had. In the finale, when Ryan Seacrest paused dramatically before announcing the winner, the camera cut to Carrie. Her face? Blank. No anticipation, no smile, nothing. When Jamal's name was announced, the crowd exploded. Lionel hugged him, Katie teared up. Carrie? She clapped eventually. But that pause, that second of delay, told its own story. After the show, she skipped interviews and gave no public sound bites. Just that one Instagram post. Fans couldn't help but notice the silence. Even the producers seemed to acknowledge the divide. Lionel praised Jamal as the real deal. Katie said he was the jolt the show needed. Carrie? She just called it a great season. Meanwhile, Jamal wasn't sitting around waiting for validation. He was already in the studio, writing, meeting producers, and planning what's next. He didn't get caught up in gossip or drama. He moved forward. That calm attitude became part of his identity. Fans started calling him classy, strong, and above the noise. Then came a twist. One of Jamal's team members was asked if he'd ever work with Carrie. The answer? Jamal's heart is big. If the music made sense, he's open. That quiet statement flipped the script. Suddenly, the person who had been quietly dismissed was the one in the position to show grace. Now, people weren't asking why Carrie didn't support him. They were asking if she'd show up if he gave her another chance. She hasn't said anything more about him since the finale. Maybe she's moved on. Or maybe she's waiting to see what happens. As for Jamal? He's soaring. Label offers, invites to big shows, buzz about his debut album blending gospel, R&B, and pop. Even stars like H.E.R. and John Legend have reached out. But more than the fame, what Jamal represents matters even more. He proved you don't have to fit in to win. You don't have to demand respect to earn it. He didn't chase Carrie's approval, he earned the nation's. His season is now remembered not just for great performances, but for what it revealed. He didn't just win Idol, he changed it. And if Carrie ever does reach out, it won't be a favor. It'll be a full circle moment. But whether that happens or not, Jamal's already ahead. Because while others are still guarding their brand, Jamal Roberts became one. And that's what lasts. So, what does all of this really say? Jamal Roberts didn't just win a competition, he shifted the conversation. He didn't walk out with just a trophy, he walked out with something bigger: respect, credibility, and a voice that now carries beyond the Idol stage. In a season where he didn't always get the warmest welcome, where some smiles were tight and some claps came late or didn't come at all, he still stood tall. He didn't demand attention. He earned it. And the way he handled it all? That's what set him apart. No drama. No shady tweets. No calling anyone out. Just consistent growth, hard in every note, and quiet confidence that said, "I know who I am. And I know I belong here." That's power, the kind that doesn't shout but still speaks volumes. He could have clapped back. He could have dropped names, called out the bias, or fanned the flames when the internet went wild with speculation. But he didn't. Jamal stayed focused. While others were watching his reactions, waiting to see if he'd crack, he was already looking ahead to the music, the art, the bigger vision. And that's the lesson, right? In a world where people feel pressured to respond, to To prove themselves, to fight back just to be seen, Jamal showed us another way. He proved that staying grounded is its own kind of strength. That you don't have to scream to be heard. That sometimes silence can speak louder than any post or headline. Now he's not just the winner of a show, he's a symbol of something more. For every artist who's ever felt overlooked, for every dreamer told they didn't fit the mold, for anyone who's been quietly dismissed or underestimated, Jamal's story is proof that you don't need permission to rise. And let's be real, Carrie Underwood might never speak on what happened. She might not ever explain the cold reactions or the clipped comments. But at this point, she doesn't have to. Because this story isn't about her anymore. It's about Jamal. It's about how he turned a moment into momentum. How he walked through a season that didn't always embrace him and still claimed the crown. And how, now, he's not chasing opportunities, they're chasing him. So if you're watching this, wondering if the world will ever see you, hear you, or believe in what you bring, remember Jamal. Not because he won, but because of how he won. With grace. With patience. With truth. And now, the industry isn't just noticing. It's listening. He's got major artists reaching out, award show invites, and a debut album in the works that blends soul, gospel, R&B, and pop in a way only he can. He's not asking for a seat at the table anymore. He is the table. And who knows? Maybe one day, that full-circle collaboration with Carrie might actually happen. But even if it doesn't, Jamal's already moved on. He's already winning in a bigger way. Because while some are busy protecting their image, Jamal Roberts became one. And that's what truly lasts. Thanks for watching. If you felt this story, if it inspired you, or made you think about the power of staying true to yourself, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and drop a comment below. What did you take away from Jamal's journey? Until next time, stay real, stay grounded, and keep showing up. Your voice matters.